wonder how many of you in your childhood began to celebrate a victory or a win before you actually earned it. Well, this is exactly what happened to a guy called Ben Payne. During a 10k race, Ben was almost at the finish line, and so he began to slow down and raise his hand to celebrate his victory, only that a fellow runner was right behind him and overtook him in the last second. Ben nearly finished his 10 kilometers, but he failed to see that the last stretch of the race was just as important as the struggle to get there. This can also be parallel to us running the Christian race, and as for the Corinthians, they were no different. Read with me 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verses 8 and 10. Already you have all you want. Already you've become rich. Without us you've become kings, and would that you did reign, so that we might share the rule with you. For I think that God has exhibited us apostles as last of all, like men sentenced to death, because we have become a spectacle to the world, to angels and to men. We are fools for Christ's sake, but you are wise in Christ. We are weak, but you are strong. You are held in honour, but we in disrepute. Looking at my first point, the Corinthian life in verse 8, here Paul is sarcastically showing the Corinthians a mirror of their life. Paul isn't giving them a compliment. It's as if he's saying, you're acting like you have all you can gain. Look at you. All of a sudden you've gained something that I, Paul, haven't gained yet. Without us you've become kings. This is how the Corinthians were behaving. Just like the runner, they were celebrating the completed task Jesus commanded them to do before they finished the race. They lived as if they had no work to do, reaping the earthly rewards they felt they earned, as if that could compare to the heavenly rewards that are to come. In a nutshell, the Corinthians were too focused on the things on earth than the things that were to come. That is eternity with Jesus. But true Christian life is far different. And that being my second point in verses 9 and 10. Again, for I think that God has exhibited us apostles as last of all, like men sentenced to death, because we have become a spectacle to the world, to angels and to men. We are fools for Christ's sake, but you are wise in Christ. We are weak, but you are strong. You are held in honour, but we in disrepute. Here Paul is telling us what it's really like to be a Christian. He's sarcastically comparing himself to the Corinthians by saying, look at you. I'm seen as a fool for Christ, but somehow you're seen as wise. I am weak, but you're seen as strong. You're being lifted up, but me, well, I'm seen as a disgrace. You see, Paul wasn't talking about how he was seen by God, but by the world. The world seen the apostles as these things because they stood against the things this world represents. The church and this world are continually at war with each other. The Corinthian church was seen as great in the eyes of the world, and this should be worrying. This shows the church in Corinth weren't standing for the same principles as the apostles. We too need to be careful not to fall into this trap. As much as we want to show love to others, we are not people pleasers, and so we are always to fear God above people. And so don't be like the Corinthians, settling for anything this world can offer, because even though we may suffer, nothing is compared to the glory that is to come.